So myself is Vikram, and I'm working in the SAP from last around 12 years. During these years, I worked in the different area in the SAP. So I have started my career as the SAP MM consultant. Later, I moved to the SAP S4HANA, and from last around 5 years, I'm working in the SAP Ariba. So currently, I'm working with this big four MNC in the Bangalore location, where I'm working with SAP Ariba and S4HANA. That's it from my side. Can we have a quick introduction from your side as well? Just I would like to know, your name and whatever experience you have, and if you have some experience in the SAP Ariba as well, and whatever you are expecting from this trip. So if you can add this information, it will be helpful for us. Can we go one by one?
Yeah, hi. My name is Sunil. I'm having 4 years of experience in SAP as a SAP MM, but I would like to know and learn about the SAP Ariba from end-to-end process like upstream projects and the downstream projects, and how the implementation will integrate with the SAP or any other module. Because I'm just interested to learn in that areas. So, because as I know, I have a good friends in who are all working in SAP Ariba, and last 1 year there is a huge boom and good market outside. That's why, because I just want to learn and change in SAP jobs. That's why, because I'd like to know and learn quicker. So because I'm just expecting as an end-to-end implementation projects from upstream and downstream projects.
Thank you. Sure. Okay. Can we go next? Madhu.
Hi, myself I'm Madhu, and currently I'm working with SRM, and I'm also having the knowledge of Ariba a little bit. So I want to know the upstream and downstream processes and CIG part.
Thank you. Can you move next, Gaurav? Gaurav, can you hear me?
Hello.
Yeah, Gaurav.
Yeah, so this is Gaurav, and I'm a Coupa consultant and SRM as well. And I have around 5 years of consulting experience in SRM and Coupa, and I'm based out of Bangalore. And I just want to learn the full life cycle of Ariba, the end-to-end life cycle from upstream to downstream, how integration works. Okay.
Thank you. I think we have the last participant, sir. Prasad, you are not audible. We could not hear. Okay. I think we are unable to hear the Prasad. I'm not sure. All right, so let's start. So as we discussed, like in the introduction session, that everyone is aware about the basics of the SAP Ariba. So most of the participants, they have videos about they would like to know about upstream and downstream and about the integration part. So let's start. I would not go in the very basic, because it seems everyone is aware about this SAP Ariba. But even though, let me quickly give some high-level overview about SAP Ariba. So what is SAP Ariba, and whatever the solutions that Ariba is offering, and how exactly the Ariba is working. So we'll also try to understand whatever the benefit that the customer will get with SAP Ariba. So that's something we'll try to understand first. Then we'll discuss in more details. So as you know, SAP Ariba is the completely cloud-based solution, and it is offering the procurement solutions to customers. And it is quite similar with the SAP MM and the SAP SRM also. So the people who have the experience in the SAP MM or SAP S4HANA, or we can say SRM as well. So in the SAP Ariba also, it is very much similar. So whatever activities we have to do, for example, if you talk about SAP MM or SAP S4HANA, so from the procurement perspective, like whatever activity we are doing, like we have to create a vendor record, right? We have to create purchase requisition, we have to create purchase order, we have to go with the contract, right? So all this activity we are doing as the part of the purchasing activity. So same way in the SAP Ariba as well, that we have to perform those activities as well, but differences is the platform. So SAP MM, like whatever the solutions the customers are using, like SAP MM or SAP S4HANA, or we can say SAP SRM as well. So these are basically mostly you may see like in as the on-premise service, right? But SAP Ariba is basically the cloud service. So with the SAP Ariba, customers are getting like digital platform to perform all the activity, and they will have like the better transparency as well as compared to the DGC solution. Like they can find out all the P2P sorting activities. Even they will have the visibility of their document status, like either if the purchase order is created, what is the status, either supplier has received or not, or either supplier has provided this order confirmation or not, or they have submitted the ASN or not. Even not only from the customer or buyer side, even from the customer supplier, sorry, even from supplier side as well, they will have the transparency. They can check the invoice status, like what is the status of the invoice, either it is scheduled for the payment or not, either it is paid or not. So all this like transparency, customer and supplier both will have on the data platform, that is SAP Ariba. So as everyone is aware, SAP Ariba, or I would say Ariba, is not a SAP product. Ariba is a separate entity itself. It is a separate company itself. So Ariba is basically founded in the 1996. So that time basically Ariba was offering the same solutions as like procurement solutions itself, but it was offering as on-premise solution. So that time basically it was not offering the cloud solutions. They were only offering like only the on-premise solutions to the customer. Later in 2010, Ariba realized that like now the customer demand is getting changed, and most of the customers, they are looking some online platform where they can perform the purchasing activity. So on the a kind of digital platform. So they decided like to introduce some other features as well. So they have given the new feature as the cloud solution. So in 2010, SAP company, they were also on the same track. They were also like looking some to introduce some like SAP platform to provide a kind of purchasing solutions on the data platform. So they kept their eyes on the Ariba as well. So what they did basically, so SAP company, they acquired the Ariba in 2012 basically, and they reformed as the SAP Ariba. So from 2012 it becomes SAP Ariba, and because of the SAP we can say logo, or because of the SAP name, Ariba it becomes more popular in the market. And nowadays if you see like most of the customers they have started implementing the SAP Ariba. So from last 2 to 3 years, if you check the the trends of the SAP Ariba implementation, so from last 1 or 2 years, the trends is getting increased higher. Because this time basically all the customers, they are doing their business like they're creating the purchase order online. Even supplier, they're also getting the order online. They have to fulfill the requirement online as well. So mostly from the customer side and from supplier side, everyone, they having the dependency over the internet. So they are performing their business activity over that digital platform. So that is why even though customers, they are using the SAP MM or SAP the S4HANA or SAP SRM as well, so they are basically going to adopt SAP Ariba. That is why we have a very good market in the SAP Ariba from last 2 to 3 years, because most of the customer now, they are going to adopt, or they are adopting the SAP Ariba. Okay. So if you talk about the SAP Ariba solutions offering, let me just open one notepad. So basically, SAP Ariba solutions are divided into two packages, or we can say it is categorized in the two parts. So one part basically is called as the upstream, as you already aware, and second is called as the downstream. So what is basically upstream and downstream? So upstream and downstream is the bundle of the solution. So these are not the specific module; these are the bundle of the solution. So if you talk about in upstream, so in upstream we have three modules. So one module is the supplier, second module is the sourcing, and last module is the contract. So these three modules are mainly available, like from in the upstream. Same way, if you come to downstream, so in downstream basically we have the two modules. One is the Ariba, buying and invoice, and another module is the catalog. So this Ariba buying and invoicing is also called as the Ariba procure to pay as well, or we can say procurement solution, procurement module as well. So overall in upstream we have three modules: supplier, sourcing, and contract. And in downstream, Ariba buying, invoicing, and the catalog. So these are the modules are available in the SAP Ariba. So customer Ariba is offering these solutions to the customer. So whenever a customer they have to adopt, they have to subscribe the Ariba solution. So it is not mandatory that customer they have to go with the entire package of the upstream, or they have to go with the complete package of the downstream. This is not mandatory. So whatever modules we can see here, these are basically the individual modules. And customers are totally free, like whatever module they would like to subscribe, they can subscribe. For example, let's say your customer, they are they want to go with only supplier solutions, they can go with only supplier solutions. If they want to go with the only sourcing solutions, they can go with only sourcing solutions, or they can go with the contract or PPP. So like that, based on the customer requirement, customer can adopt any of the particular solution. Now we'll try to understand why SAP Ariba. So let's say your customer they are already using SAP MM or SAP S/4HANA. So why basically they have to go with the SAP Ariba? So whatever the benefit they will that they are get in the SAP Ariba. So that's something we have to understand. But before going forward, let's take a quick pause. And if someone have any question, please raise your question. Do anyone have any question here?
I have a question here.
Yeah.
So what is the advantage of Ariba on-cloud solution over Ariba on-premise solution? Why the on-cloud solution is booming in the market, not the on-premise solution?
Mm-hmm. Okay, let me tell you that the benefits of the Ariba on-demand solutions versus the on-premise solutions. Even though on-premise solutions is not available nowadays in the market, so in the market only we have the on-cloud solutions. So what happened, like when SAP acquired the Ariba in 2012, so they made lots of changes in the SAP Ariba. So the first changes what they made, so they just stopped the supporting of this on-premise solutions, and they were only supporting supporting on-demand solutions. And even they have circulated the information to customers that stating that we are not going to support anymore of the on-premise solutions. So the customers who has already implemented the SAP Ariba on-premise solutions, they have to migrate with the SAP Ariba cloud solution. Okay, so this is the one changes they made. So apart from this, they also simplified the different process as well. So that's something we'll discuss in a few minutes after some time. And also they have introduced the different modules there. So they made lots of changes in the SAP Ariba on cloud service. So if you see from differences point of view, so whenever we have to work on the on-premise solution, let's say you are working on the SAP MM or SAP SRM or Coupa, whatever. So I'm not saying about the Coupa. So we will have the dependency over the system. So you can only perform your activity whenever you will be available over the desktop or over the laptop, right? So you have to open your SAP GUI, or you have to install SAP GUI. You have to install some kind of different software and hardware to work on the on-premise solution, right? But if we talk about the cloud solution, so cloud solutions do not require any kind of software or any kind of hardware. We can simply open the browser, like how we are using Google. So let's say you have to open any banking site or any company site. So what we are doing, we have to open that particular browser. We require that internet connectivity, and we can simply start working on that part. So the same way in the cloud solutions as well. So in the cloud solutions, we require only URL and we require the correct credentials. So by using this, you can start working on any of the system. You will not have the dependency on the your system or your desktop or laptop, wherever you are available, and in whatever devices you would like to work. Even if you want to work on the mobile, you can work on the mobile. So these are basically the significance of this on cloud solutions versus the on premise. Have you got your question?
Yes. And what if some customer does not want to migrate to on cloud? They prefer on-premise solution only. They do not want to migrate to on-cloud solution. So what will happen to those customers?
Okay. So okay. In that case, basically, what will happen? Basically, it's not the case since the company is going to stop the supporting of the solution. So in that case, definitely every customer will migrate. But in certain cases, if some of the customers they would not like to migrate, so no issue, they can still using that their current system is here, but they cannot expect any other upgrade version or any releases. So that's something will not be available for them. So whatever solutions they are using, so they have to use only that one, and they cannot expect for example, let me give you some example of our handset. So whatever mobiles we are using, let's say you are using Apple or Samsung or some other brand. So if you see, so every handset we are getting some that upgrade solutions, right? So for some of devices, if the company they are not going to support in future, so what they will do, they will stop the release. They will not do any further enhancement or development or any patches. So whatever you have the as it is, you have to be used as to be. So you cannot expect any upgradation or any releases or any patches. But you can use if you want to use.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
Hi. I'm sorry, I forgot your name.
This is Vikram.
Sorry.
Vikram, sorry. This is Vikram.
Vikram, yeah. Hi, Vikram. I just want to know, how it looks like on Prism interface. Like, if you show us as per understanding, because as you told that it's totally migrated to cloud-based.
Yeah.
And,
so basically, on-premise solutions are not available today. That's something I'll not be able to show you because, as I said,
Okay.
So
is there
from
any
2017,
screenshots as per our understanding, or else it's no problem?
even I never seen that on-premise solution. So when I started working on this Ariba, so I started in this cloud solution.
Okay, yeah, sure. Thank you.
Okay, so now let's try to understand why SAP Ariba. So let's say your customer they are already using as SAP MM or SAP the S4HANA or SAP SRM. So basically for the SAP SRM, we can say SAP Ariba is the the replacement of the SAP SRM. So even that SAP has also communicated this information to customers as well, or might be you can also see in this SAP S4HANA the product release as well. The customers who is already using SAP SRM, they have to go with the SAP Ariba. So when basically that SAP they acquired the SAP Ariba product, so that time they were decided the SAP Ariba will be the replacement of the the SAP SRM. Yeah, Sunil, please go ahead.
Nothing else.
I'm sorry. Ashish, I can see. Hi, Ashish. Ashish, please raise your question.
Am I audible, Vikram?
Yeah, Ashish. No, I can.
Actually, my question is, if I am talking about upstream part, so we will cover the supplier sourcing and contract. So can we cover the SLP part into it? Supplier lifestyle cycle and performance.
Yeah. I got your question. So your question is that whatever topic we are going to discuss in the upstream and downstream, right?
Yeah.
I'll come on that part. I will talk about the course content as well, like whatever topic we are going to discuss.
Because the 2-3 things are similar, like SIEM, SIPM, SLPs. So these are directly connected to upstream, I think. So can we, could you please elaborate it about little bit?
Yeah, I'll cover this part. I will discuss
All
on
right.
this topic, like whatever course content we are going to discuss. We will talk in detail.
Thank you, Vikram. Okay.
All right. So okay. So actually, we were discussing about like why SAP Ariba. So if you see your SAP product, so in the market, like we have a good demand of the SAP product, and that is why we are also surviving. So we are also working as SAP Ariba consultant, SAP consultant, Coupa consultant, SRM consultant, whatever. Right. So since like SAP has a good demand in the market, that is why most of the customers they are happy with the SAP solutions. So whatever the solutions that SAP is offering, like as the part of the SAP SAP SRM, SAP S4HANA, right? So or the some other solutions as well. So the customers who are using these solutions, they are happy with that. So might be they have some challenges, but still they are managing with that and they are okay with that solutions as well. That is why even if you check this market trend of the SAP solutions as well, it is also increasing day by day, right? But thing is that even the SAP is already playing a very big, they are already playing a very good that role in the market, and even customers are okay with that. So why? What was the need? Like why the SAP came with the SAP like Ariba product? What was the need? Why? And whatever the benefit the customer will get with the SAP with Ariba product, that's something we have to understand. Even whenever you will get a chance to work in the any Ariba implementation project, so at the initial level, like they say, at the initial level, we have to they conduct some workshop of the demo with the customer, and we also have to explain the features of the SAP Ariba to the customer. So based on that, that workshop only the customer will decide either they have to go with the Ariba with or not. So that's something they will decide. So let's take some examples, that just to understand, why SAP Ariba. So let's talk about that our SAP or SAP S4HANA point. So most of you is already aware we have that request for quotation functionality in the backend SAP system. Right? We can create RFQ, we can send the RFQ to the particular vendor, we can receive the quotation, we can maintain the quotation, and based on the quotation, we can evaluate the supplier to select a particular supplier for the further activity. Right? So these options are already available as the part of the SAP or SAP S4HANA. But thing is that if you see how the quotation functionality is available in our backend SAP system, so what do you think? Is it so simple? Like we have only create a single line of the client item. We have to include a single vendor and we can invite them. So is the same thing like we are doing in the real time as well? Of course, you will say no. It's so typical. Why it is so typical? For example, IPL bidding, right? So IPL bidding is also a kind of the tendering activity, right? So in the IPL bidding also the negotiation is happening. So if you have to do the IPL bidding, we have to map that IPL bidding in the SAP or S4HANA system. Will be able to do? Definitely. Why no? Because in the SAP or S4HANA, whatever the quotation activity we are doing, those are not the live quotation activity. Those are basically the offline quotation activity, along with that lots of limitations. So for example, let's say you are the customer, and let's say you have to purchase a laptop. To purchase the laptop, you want to discuss with the 10 supplier. So what you did, you discussed with 10 supplier and you asked them okay, tomorrow 10 a.m. we'll connect over that any meeting tool, and we'll start discussing on the pricing negotiation part. So whoever will offer the best price to me, so I will select that supplier, and based on my terms and conditions, and I'll purchase my laptop. Right? So in this case, from customer side, what will be your expectation? You said we'll connect tomorrow at 10 a.m. So, but apart from this, whatever you have the expectation as a customer. you will have the expectation should be start. That's something you want to control. So when bidding window should get closed, that's something also you would like to control, right? And not only the pricing information, might be you have some other questions as well. Like let's say you have some criteria, you are looking a supplier who can offer you 24/7 customer services, who can offer that basically some 1 year or 2 years guarantee and warranty. They can give some free services within 1 month. So like that, you have different criteria. So you would like to collect this information as well from the supplier side, right? So like that, every customer, they have their own flavor. So if you talk about sourcing activity, so sourcing activity basically is not so simple. It is a very complex. Okay, and most of the time, we are trying to find out better output during our sourcing activity. So in the DSC system, whatever the sourcing solutions are available, so if you see that, so we have lots of limitations in that, right? But let's talk about the SAP Ariba. So SAP Ariba is also offering the sourcing solution, and with the help of the sourcing solutions, customer can perform the different kind of negotiation activity. So whatever different kind of negotiation activity we have to do, let's try to understand on that part, just to understand the benefit of the Ariba. So let's take some example to understand different kind of negotiations. Let's say you are using a laptop for your office work or for your personal work, whatever. Let's say you are facing some issue in the laptop and you're not aware what is the issue in the laptop. So if something is wrong, like let's say window is corrupted, or your mouse is not working, keypad is not working, RAM is not working, or hard disk is not working. So that's something you can easily find out by checking this, laptop or the device manager. But let's say you have some internal issue in the laptop. That's something you are not able to find out, and you are struggling with the laptop. So let's assume you visit to the supplier and some service center, and you just that ask them, can you please check in my laptop? I'm having this issue. Can you please check? So let's say he just investigated a laptop, and he find out some internal part is dead, and we have to they have to replace the internal part. And they ask you can you please go in the market and please bring this internal part so that I can assemble it just to rectify this issue. So now, if you see from your side, you do not have any information about the internal part. So when you go in the market or to any different supplier, so will you ask to the supplier what is the price of this internal part? Will you ask that in a point? No. Why you will not ask directly the price of that item? Because you are not aware about this part itself. So either is it really this part is creating the issue, or you would like to know how the supplier will provide you this part. So either they will give in the assemble kit, or they will give you in a separate box itself. So that's something information you do not have. And whatever the guarantee or warranty should be there for this particular internal part, that's something information also you do not have. So what you try to understand first you try to understand the information about the product, what is it, this is the product, and what is the functionality of this one, and how I can purchase this internal part from the customer. So first you collect all the information, then you will ask to supplier okay, can you please tell me what will be the price of this part, right? So this is also a kind of negotiation we are doing, and this kind of negotiation is called as an information. Right. So now this is the negotiation we did for the information. Let's take one more example to understand other. Let's say you have to purchase the laptop. You want to purchase the new laptop, and you already have all the information. You know which brand I have to purchase, what will be the configuration, what will be the color. So whatever other item you have to purchase, that's something, all the information you already have. So in that case, let's say you are just visiting to some nearby showrooms or some other supplier shop or some other supplier that center. So in that case, when you will go there, so that time will you ask what is the configuration of this laptop, what is the configuration of this. So that's something information. Why? Because you already have all the information. So when you will reach out to supplier, you will directly ask, I need this HP brand laptop. It should be 1 TB hard disk. It should be 8 GB RAM. So like that, you will tell to them a requirement, and you will ask what will be the price of this particular laptop, right? So in that case, you will not try to collect more information. So might be few information you may collect, like what is it, like guarantee or warranty of this laptop, and what is the other, like the configuration are there in this laptop. That's something you may ask, but you will not ask the entire information like about the laptop, because you already have the information about the product. So in this case, we are also doing the negotiation, but what negotiation we are doing? We are doing the pricing negotiation. Okay. Now let me give you one more example. Will not elaborate much because that's something we are going to discuss in the regular session. But just for understanding the benefit of the Ariba, I'm just adding this point. So let's take one more example. Earlier, in the previous, that negotiation, we supposed to purchase a laptop, and let's say that we have investigated the price of the laptop from the 10 supplier, or let's say we have investigated the price for the laptop to let's say 2 to 3 supplier, like the who is located near to you. So you just visited that showroom, and you discussed the price, and even you also investigated the price over the internet as well, like on Flipkart and the Amazon. So after investigation, you find out all the platform, even the online platform or all the different showrooms, they were offering the same price to you. So might be, let's say, assume they should told you like the price of the laptop will be the 50,000. Just an example. So now you receive the 50,000 from all the suppliers. Okay. So in that case, what you will do? Will you purchase immediately since you find out the price from all the suppliers? So will you purchase the laptop immediately from any of the supplier? No. Why? Because since we are going to invest some huge amount, even though 50,000, like that's something will be very small amount for some other people. It will be very huge amount for some other people. But as the buyer, we will not purchase immediately. So since this is a huge amount for us, so what we will do? So in that case, we will again try to negotiate with some different suppliers. So let's say again, what you did, you just again visited to that some nearby showroom, and that time when you go there, you will ask the price again, but this time you will add some more information in your in your topic. So whatever information you add, so you will ask them why I have to purchase from your shop, even I'm getting some little bit lower price from the different shop. Or might be you may say in different way, okay, no problem. So since you're offering 50,000, so I think it's better to purchase from that particular supplier because they are located to nearby to me, and even they offered me, let's say, around 48,000. So they offered me 48,000. So why unnecessary I have to pay as the 50,000? So this statement definitely you will try to add that moment. So why you added this statement to the supplier? Why you communicated this information to supplier? What was the reason? Did supplier ask you? No. So why you added this information to supplier? Because you just added to create the competition. So you thought might be if I will reveal the price of the other supplier, so might be this supplier will also reduce the price. So even sometimes it's happening as well. So when you are saying this statement, so other supplier they are saying okay, no problem. So do you want to purchase now? You may say yes. So he will say, okay, no problem. You can give me 47,500, I'll give you, or you can pay 48,000 to me, I'll give you, no problem. So I will not sorry. So in that case, no worry. So you can purchase from my shop, and I will give you this much discount to you, right? So this is also a kind of negotiation that basically we are doing. So this is called as that competitive negotiation.
Vikram, you just mentioned information negotiation.
Yeah, the first one is the information negotiation.
Yeah, how we call it in Ariba? Is it a RFI or RFP?
RFI. RFI.
RFA. Okay. And price negotiation, how we call it?
RFP. So basically, information is RFI, pricing is RFP, and competitive is the auction.
Okay. Competitive negotiation. Sorry.
It's an auction.
Is it auction? Okay.
So now,
you.
if you see, basically, we are doing different kind of negotiation here. So can we do some different kind of negotiation in our backend SAP system as well? No. Why? Because our backend SAP system is something on-premise solutions, and this type of flexibility are not available in the backend SAP system. But in SAP Ariba, customer can perform the different kind of negotiation based on the required part. So this is like a type of good benefit to customer. So that is why if you see, so sourcing is a very popular module in among all the solutions in the SAP Ariba because of their different kind of the features. Even if you want to that map this IPL bidding as well in the SAP Ariba, you can do. So that's something we'll able to do in the SAP Ariba. Okay, this is the one example. Let me give you one more example just to understand, in detail, like the benefit of the SAP Ariba. So, for example, let's say you have to create the purchase requisition or purchase order in your backend SAP system. Okay, so in that case, if if you see from cycle time perspective, so how long it will take to create the purchase requisition or purchase order in the backend SAP system? So, of course, you may say it may take 3 to 4 minutes, it may take 5 to 6 minutes. So why it is taking too much time? Because of the UI complexity. So whatever user interface is available in the backend SAP system, that is a little bit complex. And while creating the documents, always we have the confusion, like which field information we have to enter, which field information we have to escape. So like the confusion we have. So that is why it is taking some time as well, right? Or even if the requisition or purchase order needs to create by some new person, so definitely he will not be able to do. He requires some assistance. Why? Because that still is a little bit complex. But same way, if you try to do some shopping on the e-commerce site, like let's say you have to place one order on that on the Flipkart or Amazon. So what do you think? Will you be able to do, or is it require any kind of training or assistance? No. Why? Because that user interface is very simple. So we have to simply open the particular application, search for the particular product, add in the cart, proceed to checkout, and we can complete our order. So same way, if SAP will offer the same UI to customer as well, or that to create the purchase requisition, to create the purchase order as well. So what do you think? Customer will accept or not? Definitely, customer will accept. Why? Because by adopting that solution, the customer cycle time will decrease. So the customer do not have to offer different kind of training to that to business user, and they can utilize that particular manpower in the different activities. So overall, they will have the cost saving. So same way, the Ariba is also offering the Ariba procurement solutions as well. That is a buying invoicing solutions, from where we can simply create the purchase requisition in very quick time. So like that, we have different examples here. So I just explain you the examples from the real real time perspective. I just not added the digital platform, cost saving, or some other features. So normally this we have to also explain to customers as well, because most of the time when you see in the real time, your customers will already have SAP MM or SAP SRM or S/4HANA. So we have to talk in their language, then they will be able to understand. Okay, so I hope now you got it, what is SAP Ariba, whatever solutions are Ariba is offering, and what are the benefits the customer will get by the SAP Ariba. Now, before going to next, is there any question from anyone?
Yeah, Vikram, as you told, the information negotiation as a RFI and pricing negotiation as a RFP. So these are all come from SAP backend system, or how the information comes to the Ariba?
No. These are all we have to do in the SAP Ariba. So
okay,
how
we have to
creating,
create.
yeah.
Okay, manually we need to create.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah.
We can
Thank
do
you.
manually as well. We can do with the help of the integration as well. But yes, we have to create the SAP.
Yeah, thank you.
Any further question from anyone?
Vikram, I
Vikram,
have a question. Sorry.
Sorry. Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question. There is a module in Ariba called as supply chain collaboration.
SCC.
So, yeah, we have three things here: information negotiation, pricing negotiation, competitive negotiation. Suppose we are using supply chain collaboration. So, do we create that thing in our backend system or in Ariba system? What is the process flow in that module in supply chain collaboration? Are you
Okay, let
getting
me
my
just.
question?
Yes, just a second.
I'm just want to know that if I am creating RFI or RFP, so do we create the RFP and RFI into a supply chain collaboration in the backend system first or in Ariba system first?
Okay.
What is the
I'll come on that.
process flow?
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
come on that part. I got it. Okay. So before that, if you talk about that procurement perspective, purchasing activity. So normally, customers they are doing that purchasing activity for the two different kind of material. So one is called as direct, and second is called as a indirect. Any guess
Yes.
what is that indirect materials? Anyone?
Indirect is called as the sorry, just sorry. Indirect is called like a consumable product, and it will not provide the direct profit to the company. That is called indirect material for the company. Direct material is it is called a raw material, and you have to create or produce the finished good or semi-finished material from the raw material, which is provide the direct profit to the company. That is called direct material.
So basically, from the customer point of view, the customer are doing the purchasing of the two different kind of materials. Okay. So I'm not saying if this is the specific materials, but this is a kind of two different kind of materials are there from the customer side. So one is basically direct. Direct means what? Direct material means the materials which are directly involved in your production activity, or which material that which are directly involved in your operational activity. So for example, let's say your customer they are doing some soap manufacturing. So in the soap manufacturing, they require some direct material, like they require different kind of materials, they require different kind of some cosmetic item, they require some packaging item. So these are the items like your chemicals or some creams or some other oil or the packaging item. So these are the materials we'll call as a direct materials, right? Second is your indirect material. So what is basically indirect material? We can say indirect material means it's a kind of consumables material. We can say that some IT equipment, MRO items, right? Some maintenance item. So these are item basically, or we can say hand gloves. We can say accessory item. So these are the item basically are comes as the indirect material, right? So the differences is that whatever the direct material the customer they are using, so they are keeping the stock of the direct material in his warehouse, in his store location. Why? Because these are the directly involved in the operational activity, and if they will not have the stock, their operation will be stopped. So they are keeping the stock for this material. But if you see about the indirect material, so for the indirect material, they are not keeping the stock. This is something based on the requirement. So for example, let's say your customer they have the machinery. So are they keeping all that accessories of the machinery in the stock? No. Why? Because they're not sure when they have to use for this that accessory. So whenever they are having some the issue or some trouble in the machinery, so that time based on the requirement they are purchasing only that particular that accessory. Otherwise they are not keeping the stock in the warehouse, right? So from the Ariba point of view, for Ariba has also given the two different solutions, like for the direct materials. I mean, Ariba has given the different solutions for the direct materials and different solutions for the indirect. So whatever the solutions as of now we are discussing here, like Ariba buying and invoicing process. Okay, so this process is only applicable in direct for the consumables. We cannot use the Ariba buying and invoicing, like the solutions for the direct purchasing. So this we can use only for this, like indirect purchasing. So whenever the customer Ariba platform to perform the procurement activity for the direct material, for that Ariba has given the different solutions that is basically called as Ariba supply chain collapse. Okay. So that means for direct material purchasing, like what customer has to do, customer has to adopt the different solutions that is called the Ariba supply chain collapse. And for indirect purchasing, they have to use S2P solutions. So why I'm saying S2P solutions, like this is called as the S2P solution, source to pay solution. So they have to use this, so like the S2P solutions, or we can say this Ariba buying and invoicing. Okay. So only differences is that for SAC we have to use the backend SAP system. I mean, we have to use supply chain collaboration to perform the purchasing activity in case of the that. So apart from this, whatever other function solutions are available, like supplier, sourcing, and contract. So if you want to use this one, so we have to use as it is in case of the supply chain collaboration itself, because if customer will go with the supply chain collaboration, this is the separate license. So this is only applicable for the P2P activity, not for the sourcing activity. So we are not creating any kind of RFI, RFP. We are not creating doing any overall process of supplier sourcing or contract in supply chain collaboration. So in supply chain collaboration, we are only doing the activity of the P2P, like PR, PO, GR. That's
Okay. So sourcing part would be done in our backend system in the ERP.
If you want to do in the backend system, you can do backend SAP system. If you want to do in the upstream method, you can do in the upstream method. It's up to the customer.
Okay. Thank you, Vikram.
Yeah, I think Gaurav, you have some question, right?
Yeah, Vikram, I was asking to can you please briefly explain once again the competitive negotiation?
Okay, so basically, what is competitive negotiation? So competitive negotiation is, we can say, like competition negotiation. So what is basically competition? For example, let's say we have to purchase every day in our day-to-day basis, we are purchasing the vegetables, right? So we are also the buyer, we are also the customers as well. And whenever we are purchasing any of the particular vegetables or any material, so what we are doing, we are trying to negotiate the price with the supplier. So how basically we are negotiating? So we are not only negotiating to reduce the price, even we are communicating the information to the supplier, like other suppliers, they are offering this much price, so why you are charging high, why you are offering high price? So and why I have to purchase from your shop or from your from you? So why not I can purchase from that supplier who offered me this price, right? So even we are also doing sometimes we are doing the competitive negotiation. So whenever we are talking to some of the supplier for the price negotiation, just that revealing the other supplier price. So whenever in the negotiation activity you will reveal the price of one supplier to another supplier, that will basically come as the competitive negotiation. For example, we can take like how Apple bidding is going on. So all the players, all the suppliers and buyers, they are sitting in one chamber, one hall, and they are starting their tendering activity. So if one buyer will say, I am just giving 100 the tender, other will say 105, 110, 115 like that. So why the trend is getting high? Because every buyers, every suppliers, they know the price of each other. That is why it is creating the competitions, and when it will create the competitions, definitely the customer will get the benefit. So that is the competitive negotiation.
Okay, so I can say price is the most important factor in competitive negotiation, right? Or we
Yes,
can have competitive negotiation with other aspects.
Negotiation means see always for the customer side. Okay, what is the if you see from customer side, so we are also the customer, right? And whenever we are purchasing any kind of material or any kind of item, so what is the most important criteria for us? Quality.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
So every customer they have the price important criteria, but they also would like to have the better quality as well. It does not mean if a supplier is offering very cheapest price, but the quality should be very less, very bad. It should not be big.
No, but see, my question is, we are already doing the price negotiation as a second part, right? As a part of RFP. We already did the pricing negotiation. In competitive negotiation, so we have to include some more aspect to, in the competitive negotiation in order to get the best bidding from the supplier.
I'm sorry, come again?
Yeah, so I just want to understand the difference between pricing negotiation and competitive negotiation, because we are involving price in both the negotiation part, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me just explain you this in differences. So let me give you one example. Okay. And try to participate in that example as well, like for better understand. Let's say we can take the same example to purchase the laptop. So let's say you want to purchase a laptop from the company, and you're the purchasing team. They have given the responsibility to you, like Gaurav, please discuss with the supplier, and whatever laptop you want to purchase, please purchase. And you have this budget, so within this budget you have to purchase the laptop. So now what you did basically, you just you find out some 5 suppliers, or let's say 10 suppliers. So you find out the 10 supplier who can provide the particular laptop to your office location. So what you did basically, you just circulated one email, and you just ask them hey, can you please provide me your quotation? I want to purchase this laptop. So let's say all the you just communicated that email to 10 suppliers. Out of 10 suppliers, the 5 suppliers they have offered you $100. Just I am giving one hypothetical example. So out of 10, the 5 suppliers they have given you the price quotation of the $100, and the 5 suppliers they have given the quotation of that, let's say 110. So in that case, what we will do?
I will ask for the competitive bidding.
No.
So I'll reveal the price to the other suppliers here.
Yes. So in that case, what you will do first, you will just eliminate the 5 supplier who has offered you $110, right? Because they will become the out of scope. Since you already received the quotation of the $100, so the 5 supplier become out of scope. You will remove the supplier from the list. Now you will keep only the 5 supplier. But still, you have the confusion which supplier you have to select, because all the 5 suppliers they have given the same price to you. So in this case, again, if you want to if you would like to send the quotation request again, so you can send, but this will not make any sense, because already you asked the quotation and they are giving the same price to you. So you are $100, but right. So now this time you still have the confusion which supplier you have to select, which supplier you have to reject, because suppliers they will offering the same price, right? So now how you will select a particular supplier to purchase the laptop? So in this case, what you when you drop the email, so you will also mention I have also investigated this price from this supplier. I mean from different supplier, and other suppliers they were offering me this $95. So please let me know if it is feasible for you, so I can purchase from you. Otherwise, I will purchase from that. So this time, for all the 5 suppliers in the email, you will grab this information. So while you're drafting this information, the supplier is asking, please send me how much quotation you received from supplier. Supplier never asks you, but they like, you are drafting this information in that particular email. Why? Because you are now going to create the competition. So when you will create the competition, so when you will reveal the price, for other supplier, so you are expecting might be then the supplier will reduce the price. So that is why you are just including this information. So this is called your competitive negotiation. So when the process when you started discuss revealing the price of the other supplier, so this is called as the competitive negotiation. And initially when you ask the supplier, please provide me the quotation, I want to purchase this, that is called as your pricing negotiation. That is your RFP and your this is the cost. Are you getting me?
Vikram, if you don't mind, can you please write the keyword on beside the information negotiation, price negotiation, and competitive negotiation, like RFA, RFP, auction?
Even though we are going to discuss this part in the regular session, this is just only I spend you for information purpose, because we'll discuss in detail level during our regular session. Okay.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So do not get confused from this one. All right. Okay, so Gaurav, have you got a question?
Yes, sir. Understood. Thank you.
Okay, so now let me just quickly jump to this course content, because we are also running some late to the time. And let me just explain you whatever topic we are going to discuss in our regular session. So basically, that we will start our session as the basic of the SAP Ariba. So we'll see in the first session how to log in the SAP Ariba, how the Ariba SQL looks like, and that whatever that self-service options are available in that SAP Ariba dashboard. So that's something we'll discuss at the initial level. After that, we will talk about the supplier solution. So from supplier solution perspective, the Ariba is offering the two different kind of modules. One is the SLP and second is the SIPM. So even though SIPM is not available for the new implementation, so but we'll discuss about overview differences of the SLP and the SIPM. But mainly we'll talk about the SLP, that is supplier lab center and management. And that one we'll talk about the different process in the SLP, like supplier request, supplier registration, supplier qualification, and preferred suppliers. All those topics we'll discuss in the SLP. Okay. After completion of this SLP session, we will talk about sourcing session, in the sourcing module, and in the sourcing module, we'll talk about the in process of different kind of negotiation. Like we'll talk about RFI, we'll talk about RFP, we'll talk about options as well. We'll also talk about the awarding scenario, like how basically we have to select a particular supplier. So all this information we will discuss during our sourcing session. Okay. Post completion of sourcing session, we'll talk about contract part. We'll discuss how to create the contract, or whatever the information we have to specify when we have to create the contract. So that we'll discuss during contract session. And later we'll talk about the procurement solutions, that is your Ariba buying invoicing, and we'll talk about end-to-end cycle of the purchasing activity. Like we will create the purchase requisition, we'll convert in the purchase order, and receiving, invoicing. So all the stuff we'll discuss during this Ariba procurement solution. Okay. In the next, we'll talk about the configuration part, that whatever different configuration we have to do, how to configure the template, how to configure approval workflow, how to perform the merge data upload, how to configure user manager, whatever the PTP configuration we have to do, how to manage the JC contract. All these different configurations we will discuss as a part of the configuration. And later we will move to this Ariba integration part. So we'll talk about the integration scenario. So whatever different integration scenario, that customer they have to use, and how basically we have to design the process. And we'll talk about mainly the CIG, like cloud integration gateway. So we'll talk about what is CIG, and whatever configuration we have to do on the CIG portal, whatever configuration we have to do in the backend SAP system, or whatever configuration we have to do on the Ariba side. So all those topics we'll discuss during the integration. So in the integration, basically, mainly we'll talk about CIJ, that is Cloud Integration Gateway. So that's something we'll talk in detail. And we'll also talk about Ariba guided buying as well. So guided buying basically is that simplified features of the Ariba buying and invoicing. So in this one as well, we will see one end-to-end cycle, that how basically we have to create the purchase request or purchase order in the guided buying. So like that, the different topics we will discuss in our regular session. Okay. Ashwini, I think you had this question about the first one. Sorry, Ashish. Yeah, Madhu, do you have any question?
I just want to know that apart from this training, what are the things we will get it to practice, materials and any recorded videos, this type server access. What about that?
I think you can check with Subbu. He will help you. He will help you in this one recorded video study material. So
Okay. Okay.
Sunil, any question from your side?
Yeah, you just shown the slides. No, in the sourcing, is it including of templates?
Yeah, sourcing is what? In sourcing activity or sourcing configuration.
Okay, templates in under which title? Can you please go to the slide for that?
No, I'm asking that you're talking about the sourcing a process or sourcing template.
Sourcing template, yeah.
Yes, we have this template configuration, template management.
Okay. Okay, yeah, sure, yeah. Thank you.
These are very important configuration. If you say template configuration, approval workflow configuration, right? So performing the mass data upload, these are very important configuration. And most of the time, as an Ariba consultant, we are facing the challenges. So yes,
Okay.
of course, we will discuss about it.
Yeah, sure, yeah. Thank you.
Vikram, hi Vikram, I have a question. So the template part is all about from the end user perspective or from the consultant perspective, because when we create the templates we have to put time, rules, conditions here. So it is one time activity or according to per supplier we have to maintain these template?
No, these are the one-time activity. These are the pillars of your upstream solution. So whatever the sourcing or contract or SLP, the activity we are doing, so it is completely controlled by the template itself. So this is not something individual perspective. These are the very important. I would say it's the pillar. So how you want to drive your the purchase sourcing process, so that is controlled by the template. So we'll talk about how to configure tasks, how to put the condition, how to include documents, all the different stuff.
So can we create this template according to, suppose we have 10 group of supplier which have five suppliers, okay? So can we create 10 templates for each group? Is it possible?
That
Are
is
you getting me
possible,
what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, you want to create a different template based on the group, supplier group, right?
Yeah.
That you can create, but thing is that you have the 10 group, right? Do you know how basically we have to create this sourcing project and that contract?
No, I am not aware about it, but as you said that we create template for the sourcing to the suppliers, so that is why. And we mentioned here rules, time condition, bidding and all, something like that.
Right.
So can we, yeah, that is why I'm asking that if we have 10 group and each group have 5 supplier or 6 supplier, So can we create it separately for different group?
See, basically, the group is not the parameter. Like based on that, we have to create. Okay. So what we have to do, we have to just configure some visibility condition. Okay. So
Okay.
some of the parameter we have to define, like that we have to that visible only this template for this particular. So that's something the parameter we can control, but we are not creating the template based on that this group or based on the company code, based on that plant or region. So we can only do this visibility condition that we can.
Okay. Suppose we create the template for sourcing or RFI or RFP. After that, how end user will use these templates while doing sourcing part?
I'm sorry. Repeat your question.
My question is, as a consultant, we created the templates for sourcing in the backend. So how end user use these templates during sourcing? What is the activity they have to do to use that templates?
I think that's something we're going to discuss in the regular session. So when they will create a sourcing project, they will have the template option will be available, and they have to select the particular template.
Okay, no problem. Thank you, Vikram.
All right. Any further questions from anyone? Okay, so that's it.
Hello. Hello.
Yes.
Hi. Yeah. So after this training, so in our project, if we will get any project or something related to Ariba, do we get any support from you for a few days?
So yes. That is
If
possible.
you stuck up with something, some question, or if you stuck up with some issue. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, that you can get, but you can check with Subbu, regarding this any kind of support, the study material, server access. So he will help. He's the right person to guide you how we have to do, what to do. That's something we.
Okay, these are all practices we do in cloud server only, no? Or it's not any other way, no? Only we practice in the cloud.
Only cloud.
Okay, no issues, yeah. Thank you, Vikram, yeah.
All right. So thank you. That's it from my side. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Vikram. Thank you.
Thank you, Vikram.